This is a quick screencast looking at simple pricing and some of the elements from our text chapter this week. And really the question, what is simple pricing? And simple pricing is a single firm selling a single product at a single price. And what simple pricing allows us to do is really to determine whether an increase or a decrease in price is needed, and also for us to appreciate the demand curve, which of course is our curve right here. We're going to be spending a lot of time working with demand as well as supply curves, but starting off with demand curves. Lastly, what simple pricing allows us to do is really understand marginal analysis and find out, when we work for a firm, what is the best price and quantity of a product for us to use. In the text they use pizza. We'll probably follow with that example as we move forward through this discussion. But the second element here is really the basis for marginal analysis, and it's the realization that as people get more of a product, for instance, in this situation, pizza, they'll only be willing to pay less. And so their utility for more of the item diminishes the more they have. But for instance, here, marginal analysis, we purchase one piece of pizza. Our total value is $5. The second one, it diminishes to $4 being our marginal value. So 4 plus 5 is 9. And we can see this diminishing of value as time goes on. And of course, for 5 pieces of pizza, our value is 15, or 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 equals a total value of 15, but actually a marginal value of $1. And that's reflected here. These numbers are a little bit different for this demand curve. But as you can see, the more a customer purchases, the more the price declines. And this is a classic example. So it's that understanding that there's a relationship between price and the number of purchases. Now, there may be a large shock in the economic environment or with a specific product, but generally speaking, these demand curves hold as a theoretical construct to understand the economics of supply and demand and some of the elements of Adam Smith's work from 1776 and later. What we can do with this information on the demand curve is we can pull together a full marginal analysis. And that marginal analysis is really key as we look at the quantity, the price of an item, and we're trying to decide how many of that item to purchase, how we can use the demand curve later on in combination with the supply curve to decide what the best pricing policy is for a single product at a single price. And you can see here, quantity 1, $7. Our marginal revenue, the revenue on one additional item, is $7. Our marginal cost, no matter what, is $7 or $1.50 again for a piece of pizza. So our total profit is 7 minus 150 is 550. Very straightforward. However, for our second piece of pizza, the value declines to $6. So our total revenue, 6 times 2, is 12. But we're going to use our marginal revenue from our first for our first quantity 1. So actually our revenue 12 minus 7 is equal to 5. So our marginal revenue for an additional piece of pizza is $5. Marginal cost is $1.50, and so the total profit for 2 is $9, and that would be 12 minus 3. We follow that logic and calculations the whole way through, but notice our marginal revenue. Of course, our marginal cost doesn't change at all. But with each one of these calculations and a drop in the price in the demand curve, our marginal revenue finally drops to $1. And notice that our $1 is less than $1.50, which is our marginal cost. As a result, what we should do as a pricing policy is actually at price of $5, a quantity of 3, and a marginal revenue of $3 for a total profit of $10.50. And the reason is, as soon as we go to a quantity of 4, our marginal revenue actually drops below our marginal cost. And so it's less profitable and it makes less sense. Keep in mind, this is our average profit, and that's a profit that many people will simply revert to as a kind of intuitive approach to pricing. But what we should do is understand, appreciate, and recognize our marginal revenue, and also recognize that we're losing real revenue as soon as we go past a certain quantity. The last item I'd like to talk about just very quickly is what actually makes products more or less elastic. And this goes into the discussion on elasticity of demand. But some of the different elements that change the elasticity or demand, the first one is substitutes. That if there's a substitute, for instance, electric cars to gas cars, to a higher quality item to a lower quality item, natural gas to heating oil, as soon as there are some of these substitutes, people will revert to them as the price goes up. So they become more elastic the more substitutes are available. Interestingly, brand is another important element, and actual brand makes products less elastic. For instance, that's the reason why Coke, Pepsi, Nike, and some of the other large corporations spend so much time on marketing, is because the branding that provides creates less elasticity. As a result, they can price higher. Complements actually reduce elasticity and allow the corporations to charge more. Apple is one of our poster children, where they have the apps, they have different, the Apple Watch, different things that complement their products. As a result, it makes their products less elastic. Under the long run, also, people become more informed about products, prices, competitors, and that makes it more elastic over the long run. And also, price increases create more elasticity, because as Apple or other companies increase their prices on a specific product, that makes some go to a substitute, and so the product becomes more elastic. This is just a quick overview. I wanted to spend about 5 or 10 minutes going over simple prices and some of the basic elements. Thanks for listening to the podcast.